Mike believed that the last rep of a set taken to failure was the trigger mechanism for muscle growth.
There is something that goes on physiologically on that last rep in the set where maximum intensity is required, which is literally responsible for flipping on the growth machinery inside the muscle.
And this was established in a study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology in 2012, some 11 years after Mike passed away. The study revealed that training to failure, irrespective of the weight employed during a set, was indeed the trigger mechanism for muscle growth. A study by Rodney et al. In 1994 reported that significantly greater gains, 41.2% versus 19.7%, are to be had by training to failure rather than submaximal sets of exercise. Mike further stated that performing one properly performed set to failure was sufficient to stimulate an increase in size and strength.
Once you have stimulated growth by going to failure, you don't have to do it again. It's like when you throw the switch to turn on a light. Once you've thrown the switch, you're confident that the electrical mechanism is in motion. You don't stand there all day flipping the switch up and down, do you?
This has been proven to be the case in numerous studies. Mike believed that performing more than one set was unnecessary. Once again, there is ample research to support Mike's position on this matter as well, indicating that just one set of an exercise taken to momentary concentric failure is just as productive or more productive, given that you obtain the desired result with less training time, than training with multiple sets of the same exercise. Of particular interest is the study by Carpinelli and Otto entitled Strength Training, Single versus Multiple Sets, published in Sports Medicine in 1998, as it surveyed all the known literature that compared single set versus multiple set resistance training. The results showed overwhelmingly that multiple sets resulted in no increase in results compared to single set training. 33 out of 35 studies reached this conclusion. Bottom line, the extra sets produce nothing but more time spent in the gym.
If you're incredulous, if you're skeptical that one set could possibly be enough, it's still the logical place to start. Remember, I said a proper science of bodybuilding should tell you exactly what to do, exactly the right number of sets. Let's say we don't know. We could do an experiment to find out. We could launch our experiment with an arbitrary number of sets, like 20, and that is arbitrary. Where in the hell did they ever get 20 sets in the first place? They just grabbed it blindly out of the cultural atmosphere. More is better. But if 20 sets doesn't work, and this is the problem with that approach, if 20 sets doesn't work, where do you go? Up to 21 or down to 19? You've got to keep in mind this. We're looking only for that amount which is required, the precise or least amount required to stimulate the increase. Okay? Now you got to keep that in mind to follow the logic here. I said that it's only logical to start with one set. We're looking for the least amount necessary to begin with, right?
Right.
If one set doesn't work, you can't go any lower to find the least amount necessary. You can't do 0 sets and have a workout. If one set doesn't work, then you've got a reason, a justification for going to 2. If 2 doesn't work, then you've got a reason for going to 3. If you're skeptical, dear listener, just think of it that way. You've got years ahead of you. Start out with one set per exercise. If it doesn't work, you can always go to 2. Keep in mind, we're looking only for that amount of exercise which is required. This is not an arbitrary approach. If you start out with 12 or 15 or 20, that's arbitrary. If it doesn't work, where do you go after that? It's not like I've got some weird emotional investment in the idea of one. I'm looking for what works. Now, ask yourself after that's over, if you're thinking about doing another set, give yourself a justification. If you can justify doing 3, a total of 3 sets, doing one more set, then you can justify asking yourself that after the next set, and the next, and the next, and the next. Even if you're skeptical that this little bit is enough, it's still the logical, the rational, the intelligent place to start. We're looking for the least amount necessary. Understanding now, after all that I've just said, that any more than that is overtraining.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't work, you could always add a set later on. But if you start out with 12 or 20 or 30 and that doesn't work, where do you go? Knowing what you know now, you'll be prompted to say down. But how far down? Get out of your thinking, get it out of your head that more is better. If more is better, then you should literally train all day. But you recognize there's a limiting factor. The limiting factor is the fact that the body has limited recovery ability.
Right.
You don't want to do any more exercise than is minimally required to stimulate the body to grow and get stronger. I'm telling you unequivocally, listeners, with all of my training clients, including Dorian Yates, Aaron Baker, David Dirk, David Paul, 1 set per exercise is all that's needed. It works every time.